This Saturday, the Keswick Theater is going to light up with the comedy stylings of our next guest. He's a friend of the show. We love having him on. He's one of my absolute favorite. Please give some love to Mr. Tom Pop.
Hey!
This morning. Yay! It's early. Hi, Tom. Nice to see you, sir. Tom's joining us via Zoom this morning. You look bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Thank you. Nice to see you. Yeah, well, you know, you have a Cracker Jack staff over there. Casey sent me a reminder that we have the interview today at 4:30 a.m.
It's better than nothing.
He knows I was sitting there waiting for confirmation in the middle of the night here in L.A.
I imagine you sitting like in a big lounge chair with a little glass of scotch and just waiting, just anticipating the moment at which you get to talk to us.
Stroking my cat. When will they call?
Like Blofeld.
You know, I talked to Tom 5 minutes ago in the other room, and I told him that I failed at my job, and then you brought it on air.
Well, see, this wouldn't be an issue if you were East Coast.
Yeah.
You know, but
I know. It makes me very angry. I was like, every time I come on, I'm like, well, next time when I come through, I'm coming in the studio for crying out loud.
Yeah.
And I've got to be in Nashville the night before, so it always blows it.
Well, the draw obviously was you love to surf, and that's why you ended up out there.
Yeah, I'm big into surfing. I love yoga. I'm doing the 1970s version of California.
Yeah, exactly. The endless
everybody
summer.
Everybody else has moved on. I'm walking around with my chest hair out, gold chains just tangled in my spooky cobweb body hair.
It's funny you mentioned that because there's a commercial with Mark Spitz on now. It's for some sort of, colonoscopy in a box or something like that. But Mark Spitz was like that, exactly what you just the matted chest hair and the medallion.
There's a line in the song Macho Man from the classic Village People,
right?
Where he goes, "You see all this hair on my chest?" I'm like, wow, man, that was really that was it.
It's over now.
Thing. There was definitely
people were turned on by that, I guess.
So Tom, you're gonna be at the Keswick on Saturday, and I feel like you're almost exclusively when you come to this area, almost exclusively you play the Keswick Theater, and I'm not sure if that is your choice, management, or but I just I
it's
love
a great
that
theater.
It's a great theater.
So
it's
good.
A great little town and everything like that. So
town.
do you inform your booking manager where you want to play?
Yeah, it's kind of like a back and forth conversation, but I do love that place, and they kind of cultivated me coming up, and the real reason I wanted to go back, especially this time, was the Keswick was the last show I did before the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
I remember I was in the lobby, I was signing books. At the end of my shows, I sign books and meet the people. And I was out there and people were like, "Should we shake hands? Is this okay?" And everybody was all kind of screwy. And then I got on the plane the next morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm on the plane and I'm like, wow, this is getting weird. I wonder if I'm going to be doing stand-up next week. And Paula Poundstone, the great comedian Paula Poundstone, comes onto the plane and she sees me and she just leans in and goes, "We're effed."
No, it's funny you say that because that's happening a lot. This Friday, I'm hosting a charity event for the Morse Animal Refuge here in Philadelphia. It was the last event that night, a big gala. I remember everyone had that same sort of, what's going on here? What's going on? Things were going on. I lost an iPad that night, so I remember, the whole thing. And this Friday, it's like the sense is we're picking up where we left off because it's the first event back of that nature, which is kind of, it feels right.
Yeah. It does, and it feels like a milestone for sure. I'm a little concerned. I thought you said I lost my eye patch.
It turned out I realized I have a functional second eye, and why have I been wearing this?
People say the pandemic's bad, but I was able to use both eyes for the first time.
It's a joy.
Oh man!
But the theater thing.
Yeah, but I'm really psyched for sure, and it's there's only some tickets left. There's not. I came on because I really want to sell the place out. I just want it to be like this triumphant kind of like return.
Well, you're a dear friend of the show, so we please help Tom realize his goal. And if Honestly, you're so good at what you do, and I think over this period, which no one would want to say, "Hey, I hope we have a pandemic," but I think what you do, how you've done it, the way you've approached thematically your shows, I think it's meant a lot to people. So I'm sure you've got, people will need to seize upon this opportunity to see you live after all this time.
Thank you. It is funny that now that I've been out for a bit, and you do see all the people when like I said, I sign books at the end of every show, and I get to see all these people that have been like they travel. Like I used to just kind of skip out the back.
Right.
Now you're actually sitting and signing books, and people come up and you forget like, oh, we traveled and we stayed in a hotel and we came from 6 hours, or we flew in from Toronto, and the thing I keep hearing is that my Netflix special, You're Doing Great.
Yeah.
Was like therapy for people during the pandemic, like because it was kind of upbeat, it was very optimistic, like you're doing great, we're gonna get through this, and even the book was You're Doing Great and Even Reasons to Stay Alive and Other Reasons to Stay Alive. And I was just writing it, but I didn't realize it was became like a self-help book, and a self-help special.
It's brilliant, and there's sometimes it's weird when you experience like a blowback from a desire to feel good and see the glasses half full. It's how we survive as a species. And Preston was just talking about, we had a segment about long despair and all of the people who are just in the throes of dealing with all this stuff. That's the service you provide. It is a release. A comedy has always helped me throughout my life, whether I was watching Bugs Bunny cartoons or whatever, going through a bad time. It does heal, and so it's got to be very good for you to see those people smiling and reacting to you that way.
100%, and it's I named the tour the tour that I'm on, the Family Reunion Tour, and I really feel like it's the family that I want to be with when I'm on the road and see all of the people. I literally was saying the other night on stage, I was like, remember back in the pandemic when they said we couldn't hang out with our families? They said we actually couldn't see our families for like a year. Wow, those were the good old days.
I think we may have discussed this before, but if not, your stand-up is huge on TikTok right now. Yeah. And so I'm wondering if that has ended up, as far as your audience is concerned, is your audience trending younger these days as a result?
It's interesting. There are younger people showing up, which is very cool. It's like, because their parents already know me, and now the young people know me. And also when I was doing the NPR show, when I was doing Live From Here, which was the Perry Home thing, that was another thing that like the whole family could listen to. So the coolest thing is when people come up and it's like the mom and the dad and like two 15-year-olds, and it's like, it's very cool. Casey, actually, you tipped me off on the TikTok trend that was happening for a while. Yeah,
you're talking about like growing people, and
you'd see it constantly on the stream. You still do, yeah.
I had this line. I made my own people. Have you ever made your own people? I've made my own people, and I'm their leader. And all of these moms started taking it and lip syncing it, and like showing their kids like doing like picking their nose or scratching their ass, and they're like, "Have you made your own people?" I have, and it became this trend. I was like, the joy of being able to tell my 16-year-old daughter that I was a trend on TikTok.
Top that.
Yeah.
Tom,
she was so angry.
We're all kind of students of comedy and fans of comedy, and I love, just like everybody else in the room, the Netflix special was therapeutic and funny. But when you watch something at home, you usually like kind of chuckle to yourself a little bit, maybe laugh if you're watching with somebody, but there's not like the double over laughter that you get at a live experience. And so I love going to clubs. I love going to like the Keswick and seeing comedy shows there. I've seen, I saw Saget there. I saw Mike Birbiglia. So I'm curious as to like when you perform live, getting that type of reaction versus getting the, hey, that made me laugh type of thing, like actually seeing people laugh. Do you know the difference that I'm trying to explain?
Yeah, no, it's a huge thing. I was talking about this the other day, that I feel like we need to have a return of comedies, film,
Yeah.
Like when we were kids, they were throwing so much comedy at us, like A comedies, B list, C list. They were just showing Ernest Goes to Camp and, Revenge of the Nerds. I mean, they just kept throwing comedies at us, and a lot of them were terrible. But we all went to the movie theater and sat there and watched. And when there's this weird thing with human beings and this energy that connects us. And when you're in a theater and you hear someone else laugh, and then you laugh, and then it connects to the other person, and it's contagious.
It's communal. Yeah, it's great.
It really catches. When I do shows, I do like these corporate shows sometimes, where a company like Microsoft will hire me to go do their thing. And the thing that they always screw up, which I literally have in my contract, is no dance floor. Like, you have to have people starting at the stage. They used to put like a big dance floor, and just that gap between me and the audience. Like, if you take 10 feet, you've killed it. You've killed the electricity chain.
Right.
So but if you have the people up to the stage, that laugh, my energy will connect to those people, which will spread through the theater.
Yeah.
Hey, do you pick up on distinct laughers in the crowd? Because some people really stand out with their laugh. And if so, do you kind of target them if you can?
Yeah, well, I don't target them, but it's definitely conscious. And the thing that I have to do is remind myself that just accept it as a real laugh.
Okay.
Because when I was starting and I would hear someone like, the insecurity was they're fake laughing.
Right,
They're they're mocking me. And then I would attack them, and everyone in the audience is like, what are you doing that for? He likes the show the best. And I'm like, he's not real.
There are some people that have that ha 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 like cartoon, like it's written out ha ha ha,
like the
laughter.
Frankenstein monster has learned to laugh.
Exactly. But that's how they laugh. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll have to like say something just to get it off my chest. Like, something like, I don't know. Thanks for bringing you thanks for bringing your pet seal or whatever.
I wonder what percentage of your audience now too, because you've got. You've built obviously the podcast and your various shows and all the things you're involved with. Have you ever done sort of a casual breakdown of who's there and what they're there? What was their entree to getting into Tom Papa?
I know. I'm always so curious about it, but it's weird to just like stop in the middle of a comedy show and be like, okay, we're going to take a little survey now. Who here drove more than 2 hours? More than 2 hours? Where did you? Because it really is it is a mystery, and I kind of like that it is a mystery.
Right.
But there's times when I'll go play like a performing arts center, and I know these people are like parents, they've got families and stuff, and I know they're not on TikTok. I know they're not even on Twitter.
Right.
And I'm like, and I've been tweeting about my show all week. I'm like, how did you find out that I was here if you're not on Twitter?
Right.
You know what I mean? You guys don't use Instagram? Where did you come from? I don't know. I think it's just a combination of everything, I guess, over the years.
Well, it's almost like we've been digital, but we re-embrace some analog technology. We remember that, yes, the word used to get out regardless of social media.
Yes.
And so that is something that is every bit as important. I mean, we here with terrestrial radio, which is still, the big mofo, it's still it still has something that connects in a very, soundtrack of your life kind of way. And your podcast and your shows, they all have a regular radio feel to it. You don't want to get
it's that sense of community,
right?
It's that thing of like, we belong to something. Everybody wants that. Everybody wants to know that we belong to something, and I think that's what's lost in some markets when they don't have really strong local radio. It's such a shame because you look forward to like, oh, the band is coming to our town.
Yeah.
Oh, we're celebrating this thing this week. We're getting together and looking for his eye patch.
Why was I even wearing that? But you're right. And then when a band would come to town and they were playing your city and they would mention the last town, I was like, oh, them. Like an old girlfriend, because
boo.
Only him, boo. Do you remember a time when? I mean, I know we've mentioned the George Carlin picture behind you, and I know he's very important to you, do you remember a time as an audience member where you had that gasping, doubled over moment where you were responding to a comedian on stage?
You mean in the past? Like
Yeah, for your entire life.
Yeah,
I'll give you a good broad time frame.
Comedy's such a funny thing that like you could just be watching a bunch of people, especially like on YouTube now.
Yeah.
Like I'll watch different people at different times, and you're just like you said, like, oh, that's funny, you just kind of chuckle. And I watched John Panette a couple weeks ago.
Right.
You remember John Panette?
Yeah.
Man, he just hooked me. And I'm alone in my room, just literally, he got me. He and every line was making me laugh harder, and I was trying not to laugh so I could hear the next line. And I was like, oh man, this is such a beautiful thing. This guy just up there yelling about corn dogs. But I always tend to, I like stuff like Carlin, and I love like stuff that has a little meaning to it, but
Right.
I also love, that was the thing I liked about Carlin, was that he also combined it with being very silly.
Yeah.
Like in Carnegie Hall, like he would be talking about something heavy and political, and all of a sudden he's pretending he's a crab walking across the stage.
That's great.
I'm always attracted to silly because I have a very low IQ.
Robert Klein was I remember seeing Robert Klein when I was in college, and that was it. What you just described. There was
Yeah.
he didn't dismiss that part of the audience that would respond well to that, as because I'm sure you designed your act in a way to hit different group. You want to hit the largest group, but you also want to have people go, that was for me.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really plan it. You just gotta kind of do what you think is funny.
Right.
You just gotta do, like, if it makes you laugh, and then all of a sudden it hits with a couple people, and yeah, you can't really plan out, like, I want to try and get this group, because like you said, I don't even know who's out there.
Right.
I don't know who's in the audience. It could just be
Shriners.
Yeah, or all stoners. I have no idea.
Do you still pop into the clubs in L.A. when you're working on material and stuff? And how often?
Yeah. I'm going to the Comedy Store tonight. That's where I've been going mostly, is Comedy Store in Largo.
I'm so jealous of New Yorkers and L.A. people, because you just go to a club on a Tuesday or Wednesday night, and it's like, oh, well, it's Tom Papa.
A marquee name.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
10 marquee names in one night. That's just, to me, it's mind-blowing.
It is pretty. I know they always, the Comedy Store always takes a picture of the lineup and posts it, and all the comments are like kids from Kansas, like, God, what's wrong with me? Why do I live here?
Well, we do have our
I want to
moments.
be in LA.
You can go into a restaurant here on any given night and see Jervis from the first season of Survivor.
Yeah.
Ooh, no way. See, you really, it's bad enough I can't be in the studio with you. Now you got to throw that at me.
So I'm looking at some of the guests that you've had on your podcast, and I wanted to ask about, because growing up, I watched short attention span theater, the half-hour comedy hour. I loved all of that stuff. And so you would see just snippets of all these comedians, and Judy Gold was one of them. Yeah. And is she known as the Holla Queen?
The Holla Queen?
Or is that just because it's on the Breaking Bread podcast?
Yeah. Oh, holla. Yeah. Oh man. For a minute I thought you were making some Holocaust joke.
No. Oh God. No.
Listen, people. Casey's Holocaust material is amazing.
Oh my God.
And this is just going to go south, but the way he finesses it.
When he sent me that text at 4:30 this morning, he was like, "Wait till you see the Holocaust joke I've got for you today." No, yes, challah, the bread challah.
Yeah.
Yes, Judy Gold is amazing making challah bread. I had no idea. I love Judy to death. She's one of my favorites. She's such a force. I put her in my live shows in New York, and I came on. She came on to the Breaking Bread podcast, and her background that she put for Zoom was one giant piece of challah that she had made.
So talking about that time in my life when I watched a lot of short attention span theaters, she had a punchline that, like, I mean, what was this, like 1989? How many years later, 32 years later, I still remember the punchline. It was silly. She was talking about getting changed in a dressing room, and the lady opens up the curtain, and she says, like, I don't need your help. Like, I'm naked with a belt on. And I don't know why that punchline sticks out to me so much. And I think it's because it didn't dawn on me that, like, I think she might have been trying to steal a belt. Otherwise, why would you be naked with a belt on? And I don't know, but I loved that time in my life when I was just discovering these comedians.
The Judy Gold age.
It was Judy. But listen, I mean, it was Norm Macdonald. Yeah, he had a big thing about wiener dogs back then. I remember that because
it sounds like you were going through puberty.
Yeah, it does.
It sounds like between Judy Gold naked in a dressing room and Norm Macdonald going
wiener
with his wiener. It sounds to me, Casey, like you were becoming a man.
I was.
You were becoming a man.
I'm still working on it, Tom.
And now he gets in touch with you at 4:30 in the morning. It's all good. So is this an extended tour that you're going to be doing, or?
I'm on tour pretty heavily through September, and then in September I shoot my next Netflix specials.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's all building up to that.
Tom, I wanted to touch on the bread for a moment because we wouldn't be talking to you.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit of sourdough bread. Have you ever addressed the sourdough bowl concept and how you feel on that? It seems like a kind of a big waste. I like sourdough bowls, but it would seem like kind of a waste of all that bread.
Yeah, I only like it when I'm in, because a lot of places those are in theme parks and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I only like the sourdough bowls if I see the person eating the bowl when they're done with the chowder.
There you go.
I think
like
that's...
if I look over and saw you gnawing at it, I would be happy. If someone just uses it as a bowl, I'm very offended.
Why not a cup? Why not make can you make a sourdough cup? They just
a little bit tiny,
like a shot glass?
No, not a shot glass.
You just walk around with it.
Okay.
Just walk around town and munching on your cup.
Steve, they could make the hat where you put two of them up here. And
two sourdoughs with tomato
Princess
soup
Leia
coming out.
Ears.
Do sourdough loaves need to be a certain size, or could they make a little one like Casey says, a
muffin
cup size?
Casey's not wrong. Not wrong. You could make them any size you want.
All right.
You can make them any size. You can make them medium size and pretend they're Judy Gold's boobs.
By the way, I want you to know I'm keeping your sourdough starter alive. It is in my refrigerator. I tend to it. It is. I have to be honest. I am terrified to make a bread. Because Preston had a story the other day about Robert Plant breaking the strap on Paul McCartney's classic bass, and I'm like, if I have a Tom Pompous starter dough,
it's a lot like that.
You've never tried to make a loaf?
I was just about to do it. I had during the holidays, and turns out our neighbor is a wonder sour, dough bread maker, and we happened to get a loaf, and I'm like, I can't. I don't think I'm ready.
You gotta do it, man.
I know. It's like dancing the red shoes.
I have to make a suggestion here, and Steve, you probably will disagree and cringe at this suggestion.
I love it as a child, though.
But you don't live far from the Keswick Theater. I think Tom should come over on Saturday before his show and make a dough.
Tom, if you can also bring some gardening shears, I'd like a little yard work done as well.
Yeah, I'm the Martha Stewart of comedy.
Yeah, we can make scarecrows for the holidays.
We're gonna dye some Easter eggs. Get ready early.
Yeah, you got to dive in and give it a try.
I
Steve,
am just
you won't mess it up.
terrified.
It's all right, man.
Yeah, all right.
Don't be a baby. And you're only taking a tablespoon of it. You leave the rest there. It's protected.
I just know to look up at me and go, hey, why?
What are you doing?
Why are you wearing that eye patch?
If only he had two eyes, he could have made bread. He could have made bread.
All right. Well, listen, we want Tom's show to sell out. There's just a few tickets left. He's playing Saturday. The show's at 8:00.
You're going to love it.
KeswickTheater.com. Without a question, Tom is absolute one of the best, and you will have a good time.
TikTok star.
You will laugh. He's a TikTok star. Bring the kids.
Yes.
They'll love it. But tickets are on sale now. So, Tom, it is great to talk to you. And we'll see you here in the studio
to see you.
next time. All right, my man?
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Love you guys.
Love you. Tom Papa, guys. He's
great.
Yep, he's the best. I talk to him all day long.